Hello everybody, welcome to Fate Seal MTG. I am Crex, your host, and today we're doing something a little bit different. I have my friend ENTuO on the line here, and together we are going to walk over his blue-black Whir variant of Lantern Control that's now been re-opaled. We've got 4 Mox Opals in here. ENTuO, thank you for coming onto the channel. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I corrupted your deck with blue cards.
Yes, you did. I like blue cards. Blue cards are fine. Blue is my third favorite Magic the Gathering color. No, something like that. It's not
is it going down. It's not.
It's not my least favorite Magic the Gathering color. My least favorite is white. But it's very nice to have blue cards in Lantern. Do you mind explaining what blue does for the deck that green does not?
The main reason you run blue in Lantern Control is to run Whir of Invention. Whir of Invention is heavy in blue. Unfortunately, you need 3 blue mana in order to cast it at all. But you get to search for any artifact costing X or less and sticking it directly on the battlefield, and you can do that at instant speed. So in a deck that's trying to assemble 3-card combinations in order to lock your opponent out, that's very important. Being able to snipe somebody with a pithing needle at instant speed feels really good. Being able to get around counter magic and waiting for your control opponent to tap out, or your Oculus player to tap out, and putting a bridge into play at instant speed feels good. So there's a lot of versatility that you get here at the cost of some of the green staples that you're going to get, like Assassin's Trophy or Ancient Stirrings, or some of the green sideboard options that you would typically get. But once we cover the sideboard, you'll see that there's still some things in blue that you can do that you get unique access to.
That's true. One of the benefits of playing Lantern Control over basically any other type of deck is that the core of the deck is colorless 1-cost artifacts. So They go very well in really any color pairing. The traditional black-green build is just something that the Lantern community hive mind has focused on for the past, 10 years, 12 years. But you can put Lantern in any deck, in any color combination. And this blue-black build is just one of the many alternates that you have access to when you are playing a deck that revolves around colorless artifacts. So the blue build with the Whir of Invention, as ENTuO said, is fantastic at having its own set of strengths. The downside, of course, being that you do need a heavy blue mana base. We are going down on basic swamps because we're going up on basic islands. We even have an Otawara in the main deck. And having fewer black lands means that you're going to be a little less consistent with your turn 1 discard. But that probably should be offset by the power of this insanely strong consistency tool that you have access to because you play Whir of Invention. As far as the mana base in this deck is concerned, it seems pretty strong to me. The big card that I'm going to call out here, and I'm sure, ENTuO, you'd love to talk about this, is River of Tears. This is a fan favorite for you, isn't it?
It is such a weird card. The art looks really bizarre. It's a future sight, future border kind of thing too. So yeah, there's nothing right about this card. It never got a cycle. It's one of those future sight lands that just got abandoned and we'll probably never see again.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Graven Cairn's got a cycle. Horizon Canopy got part of a cycle, but River of Tears is just part of Nimbus Maze and Grove of the Burn Willows, where they just kind of just are there.
Yeah, they just got forgotten.
For the uninitiated, River of Tears is a land where you can tap it to add blue, but if you played a land this turn, not if a land entered the battlefield under your control, but if you played a land this turn, instead you have to add black. So the turn that you play River of Tears, it adds black for your turn 1 discard. But later on, if you are careful with how you tap your mana, you can finagle this to be able to cast a main phase Whir of Invention. And of course, if you cast Whir of Invention at instant speed on your opponent's turn, then this will always tap for blue. It's it's a really nice piece of tech. ENTuO has convinced me that this is a good land to play, even if it does make the deck slightly more difficult to manage as far as its mana is concerned. But I think I really like River of Tears, and I'm definitely going to test this out and see how it performs in this Whir variant.
River of Tears is good in Lantern in particular because early on in the game, like turns 1 through 3, you're very likely to need black mana. And then later in the game, you're very likely to need heavy blue mana. There's not a ton of overlap on when those color needs intersect. River of Tears enters untapped without paying for life, which is great, and gives you the right colors that you need at the right time. The only downside is when you're trying to hold up a Fatal Push on your opponent's turn, for example. Or if you're trying to play a Whir on your own turn and you play the River of Tears, then you don't get the option to tap for blue that turn. You have to pass, and then you can tap for blue on your opponent's upkeep. But besides little wonky moments like that and slight misplays that you might make because you can't control Zia land drop on MTGO, that's not how that works. It fits the needs of the deck very well. And it's cheap.
And it's cheap.
And it's awesome.
And it's awesome. Yeah. And you're right. The art is weird. The whole card is weird. It's got the slots for the mana pips, and it doesn't actually have any mana pips in it.
But it's a land. Yeah,
but it's a land.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's
very dark too. Like
dark.
I got paper ones like a while ago, like original art, and when I looked at them, I'm like, this card looks like it's like the printer is printing too dark. It's great.
Of course. So the artifacts in this Whir build are fairly stock. We have 4 Mishra's Bauble and 4 Mox Opal. That's just the direction that you really want to go when you're playing a Whir build. We've even got the triple Pithing Needle, which is more or less stock in Lantern builds these days. ENTuO has taken a little bit of inspiration from me, it seems, in the split of Milrocks that he's playing. 3 Pyxis, 3 Codex Shredder. It's nice. Pyxis is nice. Codex Shredder
The advantage of sticking things in your own or your opponent's graveyard these days is pretty minimized, especially like if Breach is running around as much as I hear that it has, then Pyxis will probably help you more because you don't want to fuel the graveyard. Mm-hmm.
Putting cards in Breach's graveyard is basically just letting them draw cards. And we're not even playing in Academy Ruins anymore. Like we kind of evolved beyond the need for Academy Ruins. Like it's not that it's like irrelevant or not useful. It's just, I don't know. Like I think part of it is that the average skill of a enfranchised Lantern pilot has gotten to the point to where they don't need to rely on Academy Ruins anymore as kind of like a crutch. And part of it is that the format's just gotten too dang fast, and there's just not really time to take an Ensnaring Bridge that's been destroyed by an Ancient Grudge and put it on top of your deck and then draw it and then recast it.
So a lot of the removal is exile based these days too. So there's nothing to recur if it blows up the first time.
That's absolutely true. We've still got the discard suite of Inquisition of Kozilek and Thoughtseize. 4 Thoughtseizes, 3 Inquisitions. No discard in the sideboard of this particular build, but we'll get to that in a little bit. To round out the interaction suite, we have 2 Fatal Pushes. Now, in a black-green build, in a traditional build, these would be Assassin's Trophies. But ENTuO has opted to play Fatal Push instead. Why is that?
I don't have green. That's the simplest answer, but there are some 3-color variants that you can try out where you can run trophies and some stirrings, and you'll get along just fine, really. The idea with this deck is if you're going to try and do the fetch base, you don't want to do 3 colors unless you're going to be in for a lot of pain if you do 3 colors.
You really are.
Too many shock lands. The Fatal Pushes are just the best turn 1 removal options in the deck, or in the color slice that you can ask for, really. And against energy, there's so many energy decks floating around that you need some way to slow them down. And having a 1 mana instant speed option is actually really powerful there.
Mm-hmm. Fatal Push is basically still the standard for interaction with creatures in black. And I do agree with you on the 3-color mana base. It's kind of strange because if you're playing 3 colors and you kind of want to play more fetches and shocks, because you want to be able to get all of that mana consistently underneath of you. But Lantern doesn't really do very well with all of that life loss. Like, we've already got Thought Seizes, we've already got, you know, the fetches and shocks, and we don't have that many ways to kill creatures usually. So 3 colors is gonna be a bit much. It's gonna overextend you a bit. And I found a lot of that to be true when I was playing my own Obzon version. Playing the green and the white for Prismatic Ending and for Portable Hole, I think it was. And I found that it just was a huge stretch to go into 3 colors. So if you want to play with a different color, you really need to just make that the color that you play with and not be wishy-washy and kind of like half committal and be like, oh, well, I'm going to play 3 Whir of Invention and 2 Ancient Stirrings, and I'm going to completely wreck my mana base to support these 3 green cards that I have, and also the triple blue for Whir, and also the black for discard. It's way too much to ask of your mana, even with Mox Opal. So what folks used to do when we were playing 3-5 colors and Lantern Control is we would play the Rainbow Lands, Glimmer Void, and Spire of Industry. And they were fine, I guess. I don't know. Like, they didn't really support discard very well because you had to play out your Lantern or your Codex Shredder or your Pithing Needle, heaven forbid, before your Glimmer Voids and Spires really came online. I don't know. It just seemed like it wasn't as much of a reward as it should have been for all of the risk that you were taking with your mana base. And we slowly just realized that Glimmer Void isn't a very good card. And we kind of just, as a community, more or less collectively moved over to a Fetch Shock mana base. And it's kind of, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it is a blessing, a very welcome gift that we do not take for granted, that our mana stays in play when we play our lands. Anyone who 8 years ago played a Glimmer Void into a Lantern of Insight and then immediately had Ancient Grudge cast on it, and then you lose your Lantern and your land, like, I'm sure that's a feeling that a lot of the veteran Lantern players have. I know that I still am traumatized by that. I tried at one point having a hybrid mana base where it was Glimmer Voids and Spires alongside the fetch lands. So like in this list, I would have replaced River of Tears with Glimmer Voids, for example. But that was just the worst part of both of them. 3 colors just doesn't seem like it works. ENTuO's done a fantastic job with building out a coherent mana base for these 2 colors, the blue and the black, and River of Tears really does do a good job of wrapping that all up.
This is going to be a bad time for me to say this, but I am a bit of a Glimmer Void sympathizer. If you're going a heavy Mox Opal build, I want to see what you guys are building. So whatever video this ends up in, send your decks. I want them.
Drop them in the comments of the video, or better yet,
I need to see them.
Yeah. Go to the Discord. I have the link to the Discord in the description of this video. Just go there. Yeah. Just go there. Say hello. Just drop your hot garbage in the deck list.
I will defend
it's fantastic.
You.
Yeah.
Just tag me, and I will come to your defense for Glimmer Void.
Yeah. Half of us are gonna be down your throat because of the Glimmer Voids, but yes. You know, ENTuO's gonna defend you. He's a good boy. He'll do that.
I'll get my sword.
As far as the sideboard for this build is concerned, there's a lot of spicy options. And the first thing that I want to talk about is Consign to Memory. Consign to Memory. ENTuO, why would you put a counterspell in a Lantern control deck?
Consign to Memory solves a lot of the problems that Lantern just kind of has to deal with otherwise. Countering a colorless spell is one of the most common reasons that people run Consign. So back in the One Ring days, being able to counter the One Ring was super awesome. But the fact that it counters triggered abilities does more than you would think off the top or off the bat, right? It stops cast triggers. So against Eldrazi, it stops World Breaker cast triggers. That's great. You get to protect your bridge. It stops a lot of combo decks from doing their thing. Experienced Breach players should be able to get through one Consign to Memory, but if they're doing a tight line and they don't have the ability to Thassa's Oracle multiple times in a turn, and they don't leave enough cards in their library, you can just hold up a Consign to Memory and counter the ETB. And then they have to sit there with their Thassa's Oracle and figure out how to blow it up and get it back from the graveyard to replay it. Like, it's not easy for them. It's usually possible, but it's not easy for them.
Especially in a post-sideboard game where they've sided out all of their removal.
Right, yeah. And Amulet Titan. You can counter their amulets. You can counter Primeval Titan ETBs. You can counter Urza Saga triggers. It's great. You can't ask more from a one-mana spell. Not to mention that you can replicate this too, so if you're worried that your opponent is going to counter your consign, you can make more consigns. It's very versatile. It only costs 1 mana, and the decks that you're going to be boarding it in against, you probably don't care if it rots in your hand. Like, your opponent isn't going to have 1-power creatures that are going to get through your bridge because you can't cast a consign to memory. There's no overlap there.
So something that I am going to be releasing at some point in the future, I will be releasing a series of videos and live streams based around trying to get people who want to play Lantern kind of in the know on like the common play patterns, the philosophies, and things like that. Essentially, it's going to be a collection of lessons that you can watch and kind of get up to speed onto how to play Lantern. One of those lessons is going to be when to sandbag discard. So Inquisition of Kozilek and Thoughtseize can be used as counterspells in very certain niche situations. And that kind of follows the philosophy that Ensnaring Bridge, while it's nice to have it completely empty, it's not completely necessary to have your hand empty 100% of the time. Like, Ensnaring Bridge will still do a ton of work if it's holding back 2-power creatures, but not holding back 1-power creatures. And I'm sure if you go through both of our video catalogs, actually, because ENTuO has a very nice YouTube channel where he goes over Whir Lantern and other Lantern variants. Ensnaring Bridge does not need to be all the way down in order to be effective. You can oftentimes afford to hold an Inquisition of Kozilek in your hand, a Thoughtseize in your hand, a Duress in your hand, or in the case of these blue variants, Consign to Memory as just an insurance policy in case, like you said, ENTuO, in case a World Breaker slips through, you just counter the trigger and move on with your life and don't just instantly die. I'm kind of reminded of that one meme where you've got the normal distribution graph where you've got, you know, the
bell curve.
Yeah, the bell curve. And over on the left, you've got the idiot who says, I don't need, you know, my hand empty for when playing Lantern. And then you've got the guy in the middle who's just screeching and crying and saying, no, you need your hand completely empty for Ensnaring Bridge. And then there's the enlightened sage all the way on the right-hand side that says, you don't need your hand empty in order to play Lantern. And this Consign to Memory, while it might be surprising for people who are newer to the deck, I think that the logic behind this makes perfect sense. You're not going to be playing against 1-power creatures when you're bringing this in against Eldrazi, against Amulet Titan, against Breach. The only deck that I think that this might be relevant against where you might see some X1s is Blink, but I'm not sure you would bring in Consign to Memory versus Blink. I figured you might just want to bring in your Torpor Orbs and call it a day. What do you think?
Well, we'll leave that up to you. I would like to bring it in for the Witch Enchanters. Just there's so many ETBs that you can stuff that you'll find value off of your 1-mana spell probably. And it's not like that deck goes very fast. It doesn't hit like a truck necessarily. It ramps up. It is also a 1-mana counter spell that doesn't stop the clock on the board. So I could be wrong. I haven't played against it yet. I haven't played it in a few months. So. Yeah,
that's fair. And now that I think about it, I suppose Blink doesn't actually have that many 1-power creatures. They have what? Recruiter of the Guard. They have Orcish Bowmasters. No, Emperor of Bones is a 2/2. Felia is a 2/2. Overlord of the Baelmerk is a 5/5, I think. I don't even know. I don't even know if they're playing Bowmasters anymore, especially with
playing Bowmasters.
Yeah, Ketramos has just released, and it's the hot new hotness, and everyone's playing Ketramos. So I don't know if they're going to be playing Orcish Bowmasters. Solitude is a 3-power creature. You know, Consign might actually be decent against Blink too. If I find room to bring in Consign against Blink, then I actually might do that. We've got a smattering of other things in the sideboard as well. Curse Totem is in here for your Yawgmoth variants, for your black-green. Is it black-green? I think it's just green. The Brood-Scale combo. We've got Damping Sphere in here for your Storm combos. We have Extirpate in here as a 3-of against just everything. Extirpate's just good against so many different decks. again, a lot of like these one-of artifacts, Grafdigger's Cage, Grim Bauble, Nihil Spellbomb, the Stone Brain. These are things that you can find off of your Whir of Invention, your consistency tool. And you only need one of them, because one of each of these is really more like 5 copies of it. It's not like a traditional list where at best your consistency tool is going to be something like Profane Tutor, where you have to pay your mana and then wait 2 turns to then have the chance to find and then cast your spell. Whir of Invention just finds it and puts it into play directly just for you. And having these one-of tutor targets is going to be quite powerful in a Whir build specifically. Now, the last thing that's really rounding out this sideboard is this Toxic Deluge. And ENTuO, would you like to talk about that for a little bit?
Energy sucks, and we need board wipes. And Toxic Deluge is the best way to do that without getting into double black pip, which, as we covered in the mana base, it's hard to support multiple black pips. We're so invested in getting Whir online that Deluge is like the only reasonable option, even though you have to pay several life. Now, on the bright side, you're probably only going to be paying 1 or 2 life most of the time with Toxic Deluge.
Right.
But so this isn't going to be for your anti-mid-range strategies. Like you're not going to be warding this in against Blink having a good time necessarily, because like you can do it to try and pick off some of their pipsqueaks, but like they're overlords and the Ketramos, like you're not killing those. Yeah, unless you're paying a lot of life to do it, and they'll probably get more creatures. And
Felia's going to get outgrow the Toxic Deluge quite quickly.
Yeah, so you want Bridge for those instead. The Deluge is just for the little pipsqueaks, the cat army.
Those damn cats, man.
Damn cats. One thing that Whir of Invention is really nice with is postboard. Having all those one-of tutors, like you had mentioned, in the postboard when the games slow down, if the games slow down at least, Whir of Invention gives you a lot of options that you get to think through, which is good. Compared to something like Ancient Stirrings, where you kind of get what you get, it still gives you some options, but Whir of Invention plus Urza Saga gives you a lot of flexibility in what you're able to run.
That's true. Ancient Stirrings relies on your deck having multiple copies of the things that you want to find, and Whir of Invention does not.
Yeah, you just pluck out what you need. And that's why I think it's such a fun deck, is because you can top deck a Whir of Invention and just any of your other locked pieces, and you have a chance of getting back into the game. Sometimes if your engine falls apart with like Golgari, you're kind of just done. At least this deck has some better top deck viability.
Profane Tutor is not a good top deck. Whir of Invention is, though.
Whir of Invention is a great top deck. It feels so good when you get a Whir and you're out of cards and you're out of gas and you're like, yes, I have something. So.
Slam and Snaring Bridge by myself 8 turns. Thank you very much.
Exactly. It's great. And your opponent can see it too, typically. If the Lantern's just hanging out, they can see that their doom is on the way.
Well, thanks for hanging out with me, ENTuO. I appreciate it. And thank you for going over your blue-black Whir build with me and the audience here. For everybody who's watching still, go check out ENTuO's channel.
You get to watch me lose to the One Ring a lot, because last time I was playing, there were still a lot of One Rings.
Yeah, so. that'll definitely do it. So yeah, I'll go ahead and boot up a league with ENTuO's blue-black Whir Lantern, and I'll be right back. All right, we are on the play versus Coddy89. I will... This hand is a bit difficult to evaluate. So it's got Urza Saga and 2 blue sources, but it doesn't have the 3rd blue source for the Whir of Inventions. I think I'm going to keep this, but I think that I might be pretty easily punished. We'll just have to see what happens. This might be a case of a turn 1 Urza Saga to try and find a Mox Opal. Do I want to do that? Or do I want to save the Urza Saga for turn 4 so that I can make constructs? I think I will save it. But I could see an argument being made for that being put down on turn 1. And here we go. Concealed Courtyard. This is definitely some sort of Ketramos build. Look at that Relic of Progenitus. Okay, so we've got a Thoughtseize now. I'm going to go ahead and fire that off. And yes, this is definitely the black-white blink deck. So I have a lot of different options for things that I can take. I could take Overlord of the Baelmerk and deny them a little bit of consistency. I could take the Flicker Wisp and deny them the ability to interact with my bridge. But I think... I'm just not sure. I think taking the Overlord is probably correct here. That would deny them something to do on their next turn as well. Yeah, I'll take the Overlord. Okay. So let's go ahead and F6 here. They're going to have a pretty nasty endgame that I'm not looking forward to. They played the Witch Enchanter as a land, which is probably the best thing that they could have done. That is a second Urza Saga. I'm going to go ahead and cast these Mishra's Baubles. And I might be able to just play Creature Beats against them, but I'm not sure. They have a Fatal Push, a Flicker Wisp, and an Ephemerate in hand. I think between those cards, I believe they can actually hit all of my creatures. Oh, that's nasty. Yeah, that's pretty nasty, actually. I don't like that. So let's see what this Witch Enchanter will hit. It's the Urza Saga, of course. That stinks. And we're just not really doing anything right now. So the Grafdigger's Cage is in play, but I'm not actually sure how big of a deal that's going to be. Do I attack in? Yeah, I'll attack in. Perhaps it would be best to leave it back so that I could block the Witch Enchanter, but I'm just not going to do that. They're keeping my graveyard nice and clean for me. So now this Ephemerate can just completely wreck my day. The Fatal Push is going to take the Construct. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. They're going to go ahead and Ephemerate here. And yeah, that's to be expected, I believe. I will bobble them. That's a Ketramos. That's not good. Okay. So I'm hoping to draw a blue source here. I did not find one. Let's go ahead and Inquisition our opponent. Try and take something good out of their hand. That Fatal Push was to be expected. They had a Ketramos already. They just didn't cast it. What do I want to do here? I know that they have a Ketramos on top of their deck. I think I might just want to play out the Lantern and see what's on top of my deck. I'm pretty desperately digging for an Ensnaring Bridge at this point. That is not an Ensnaring Bridge. So what am I doing here? I'm taking 5... And this Ketramos actually cannot attack quite yet, unless they pop their Relic, which they might do. I think I'm just going to let everything go for now. I'm likely going to pop this Bauble, though. They are not popping their Relic of Progenitus, which is really good for me. Witch Enchanter is going to pop something else here. They're taking my Lantern of Insight. Do I want this Ketramos to hit the table? Ketramos is going to be like a cantrip anyway, because they're just going to play Ketramos and then they're going to Relic me, and that's going to draw them a card. I think I will have them shuffle. I have a Codex Shredder on top of my deck. Jeez, this black-white blink deck is just so ridiculously, incredibly difficult here. Well, they're going to go ahead and pop their Relic, which is fine, actually. All right, here we go. They have the ability to play their Ketramos now, and it can attack, notably. So I'm actually in pretty deep trouble here. I'm not convinced that I have the ability to handle what's going on. 3, 5, 9. Go ahead and... Oh, I should have targeted my opponent with that, I think. Oh, well. And blue land? Nope, not a blue land. I still might be able to make something work, though. That is a polluted Delta. That's actually not good enough. It needs to be an untapped blue source that I don't pay life for. Windswept Heath is down. They have one unknown card in hand. Oh, jeez, man. I'm going to fall to 1 here. Yeah, I need something good. I need something really good here. I need a basic island. I need a River of Tears. That would be good. I need a Mox Opal. Oh, wait, nope. None of those actually work now, because Whir of Invention doesn't get big enough. Okay, yeah, I'll just go ahead and concede the game. So the non-bow between Urza Saga and Whir of Invention was a really big deal with this hand. I feel like I would have had a lot better time if I had been able to just get these Whirs off the ground. That's just wild. But yeah, I just couldn't do anything. River of Tears would have been good enough because I would have been able to tap it for blue on my opponent's upkeep, but just not in this situation. I didn't have the artifacts necessary to make it to pull it off. Okay, well, let's go ahead and bring in some things for this matchup. Torpor Orb is going to be good. Toxic Deluge is not going to be as good. I could see Consign to Memories, but I'm not entirely certain. Let me just take a look at my list and see what I would want to take out. Grafdigger's Cage is bad. The Underworld Cookbook. I don't think they have much reach in their lists anymore, so I think that's bad. Pithing Needle is... They don't really have many things for me to Pithing Needle. I think I can afford to take one of those out. And if I'm taking all of those cards out, then I kind of want to bring at least one thing in. Do I bring in the Consign to Memories? I'm going to try it. I think I would rather have the third Torpor Orb, but I think I'm just going to try a Consign to Memory. And I don't want to go too low on my artifacts because that's my source of consistency for Whir of Invention. I will be on the play. I think I will keep this hand, actually. This is got a lock in it. It's got interaction for one of their early creatures. And it also has Whir of Invention for Torpor Orb. I think this is good. All right, let's go ahead and shock this in. Lead on a Lantern of Insight. Witch Enchanter on top of their deck, of course. Wouldn't have it any other way. Mox Opal on top of my deck is actually really nice here, I think. They're gonna Thoughtseize me? Wow, they're gonna Thoughtseize me. That sucks. I wonder what they take. I think that they should probably take, yeah, the Ensnaring Bridge is probably the correct call there. All right, Mox Opal is going to go down now. I'm going to play out Polluted Delta, and then I'm going to play Pyxis off of this Watery Grave. I'm now holding open Fatal Push, which is nice. Do I want this Urza Saga? I might want the Urza Saga. Second Thoughtseize. Definitely want the Urza Saga now. Wow, that's just wild. That is so many Thoughtseizes. Relic of Progenitus is fine. Do I want this Urza Saga? This Urza Saga will hit Chapter 2 before Witch Enchanter can come down. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think I'm fine with this. All right, got an Arid Mesa and another Thoughtseize. But we are in the top control portion of this game, so I'm actually not worried about Thoughtseize anymore because they've already taken all of the cards out of my hand. If they play a Ketramos here, that's going to suck. Overlord of the Balemark is definitely going to suck. That is not good for me. And they have a Ketramos that they could bring back to hand. Or a Felia. I think Felia might be pretty good too. They chose Ketramos. I think that's perfectly reasonable. And I believe I will actually go ahead and exile with Pyxis here. I don't want them drawing that Overlord, and the Lantern's not particularly good on top of my deck either. Ooh, a Thoughtseize of my own. I think I might actually take that. I think I'm going to take the Thoughtseize. This could take the Witch Enchanter out of their hand. It could also take the Ketramos if I really wanted it to. And a Boggart Trawler, huh? Now, what I take here is going to decide the rest of the match, I think. So do I want to take the Ketramos or do I want to take the Witch Enchanter? I think I'm going to take the Witch Enchanter. And I'm not sure if I want them drawing that Felia or not. I think Felia might be fine. But they have the Ephemerate in hand. See, this is why we wait until their upkeep, because sometimes they just solve the problem for me. They don't want that Arid Mesa, probably. Maybe they're looking for more action. This is fine, though. That's definitely not fine. And I will clear that Wrath of the Skies before they have a chance to draw with this Ketramos. Let's go ahead and fetch a basic island here. And I will make my construct now. And let's go ahead and exile that Wrath of the Skies with Pyxis. Oof. Yep, that's fair. Now, do I want to shuffle with Lantern and then find another Lantern off this Urza Saga? I think I will do that, actually. I really don't want them drawing that Wrath of the Skies. And now their draw engine is turned off with this Ketramos. But it's now just a huge, beater, which is not good. A Whir of Invention, you say? Whir of Invention changes a lot. I will tap this for mana now. I'm going to grab a Lantern of Insight. An Ephemerate. They actually don't have anything that they can reasonably ephemerate that would actually matter. I think I'm just going to play my Whir of Invention. There we go. There we go. X is 3. Let's grab that Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. And now suddenly with that Whir of Invention draw, we're in really good shape. With the exception of that unknown card in their hand, of course. Interesting. Why are they blinking that? Oh, so they can just go ahead and cycle the Ephemerate? Yeah, that's fine. So they've got 2 Ephemerates, a Boggart Trawler, and a Marsh Flats. Okay. This is fine, actually. Those Ephemerates are going to allow them to draw into more stuff, but I don't really care about Orcish Bowmasters at the very least. Ephemerates are kind of just draw 2s, though. That's really annoying. I think I'm okay for now, though. Thoughtseize is going to be a really good draw. I would love to be able to draw that. And here they are going to be able to hit their Ketramos, draw an Orcish Bowmasters. They don't have much of an ability to gain life now. I guess they could Solitude their own Ketramos and then draw this new Ketramos. I might actually Pyxis them if they try that. I don't think I would. All right, Thoughtseize. Let's go ahead and take one of those exile effects. Ephemerate, Solitude, Orcish Bowmasters, and Boggart Trawler. I will definitely be taking one of the Ephemerates. And it's another Ketramos. Okay, I think I'm doing fine now. I think I'm doing fine. I would really want another Millrock of some sort, though. They're going to draw this Concealed Courtyard. Ugh, yeah. So Boggart Trawler is down. Concealed Courtyard is down. And unfortunately, they can still Ephemerate plus Solitude here, which means that they have the ability to draw this Wrath of the Skies at instant speed, so I need more discard. I think I just need to bite the bullet here. They have way too much instant speed interaction for me to be able to really do anything about this. So I have to dig myself into discard for the Wrath of the Skies. They are going to have to draw the Wrath of the Skies. All right, so Ephemerate is out of their hand. They have a Wrath of the Skies in hand now. Okay. There's the Thoughtseize. That's good. I really needed that Thoughtseize right then and there. Okay, let's go ahead and Thoughtseize them again. Take that Wrath of the Skies. All right, and now we are slowly churning through their ability to draw cards. They're going to be able to do it again here. Ugh, that stinks. I don't like that. I don't have the ability to interact with this, though. Okay, they're going to draw the Concealed Courtyard first. I think that might have been a mistake. And they have a Witch Enchanter. Amazing. Okay. So I'm just dead now, actually. They have a Felia. Am I just dead now? I think I might just be dead now. Ensnaring Bridge is down. Witch Enchanter is down. This has an attack trigger. This is not looking good. Oh, right. It was blinked. So I can actually... I can block here. And I still have this Mox Opal open, so that's fine. Might actually want to put the Witch Enchanter in their graveyard. But I'm not certain about that quite yet. Let me go ahead and exile with this Pyxis first. Yeah, I don't care about that right now. And I'm going to see what I get off of the top of my deck here. It is a Pithing Needle. I cannot take this series of hits. If I pushed the Witch Enchanter, then I would just die to these two. So I need something better. I think I am going to push the Witch Enchanter now, but now I'm in a position where I need to draw exactly Ensnaring Bridge, and Whir's not good enough. Urza Saga. Oof. Yeah. I don't think that this is going to be good enough. And now, even if I have a bridge, they just Flicker Wisp it? Yeah, that didn't work. just didn't have enough pieces here. And the Ketramos did actually draw them enough cards to make all of this relevant too. Oh boy. So yeah, Whir just was not coming together, unfortunately. This is just brutal. I'm gonna go ahead and concede here. That was absolutely insanely rough. I'm not sure what to do about that. The double Thoughtseize at the beginning of the game kind of set the tone for the whole thing, I think. I'm not sure there's much more I could have done, honestly. I think I just got ran over. Ugh. Oh well. So, yeah, thank you for tuning in, everybody, to watch me just get run over by Flicker Wisp and Ketramos and Ephemerate and Wrath of the Skies. This is just an insanely strong matchup for them, I think. I don't know how to handle this, honestly. I know that you need your Torpor Orbs, and I know that you need your Ensnaring Bridges, but Ketramos drawing all of these cards, and they still have additional outs in Wrath of the Skies. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot. Oh well, I'm not going to think about it too much. There's not more that I could have done. On to round 2. Okay, we are on the play versus Shiver Me Timbers. On round 2, this hand has double Pithing Needle and an Ensnaring Bridge, but it also has Whir, and it has all 3 lands necessary to cast it. I think I will keep this. I'm just not going to do anything on my first turn. Just going to play my Darkslick Shores, and I'm going to pass. Bloodstained Mire, pass, huh? That's interesting. I'm going to do River of Tears, pass. Oh, they're activating Bloodstained Mire now. Okay, well that might give me an opportunity to Pithing Needle something if I can skill shot it. Bloodstained Mire into Raucous Theater with Devourer of Destiny? I'm going to hold my Pithing Needles. I don't know what they're doing, and I really want to make sure that I don't accidentally name the wrong thing with these. What on earth are they doing? Do I mill them? I don't think I mill them. Third Pithing Needle. Hey everybody, how about third Pithing Needle? I'm just going to go ahead and slam my Ensnaring Bridge while I can. Maybe that should have been me grabbing a Lantern, but I couldn't have done anything with the information anyway, since I would have had to tap my Codex Shredder. Raucous Theater, Sulphurous Springs, Talisman of Indulgence, concede the game? Alright, whatever. Whatever. We take those. Consign to Memories, get in the deck. Extirpates, possibly get in the deck. What would I want to side out? I might want to side out my Grafdigger. I kind of want to keep in Grafdigger's Cage just in case. I'm going to side out the Underworld Cookbook. And maybe a single Pithing Needle. Although siding out that Pithing Needle might be a mistake. And I think that the Fatal Pushes can get out. I genuinely don't know what my opponent is playing. They just... whatever. I'm going to keep Grafdigger's Cage in just in case. Like, I don't really have a rationale for it. I've just got a quote-unquote bad feeling. So I'm keeping those in. The 1 in. This is a fantastic hand. We keep these. Dude, what is my opponent doing? Gemstone Caverns? Alright. Alright, 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 alright. River of Tears, Lantern of Insight. Eldrazi Temple is in there. That's a Kozilek's command. I'm definitely going to be shredding that. Let's go ahead and play out this Urza's Saga. Play out this Codex Shredder. I'm going to cast this Mox Opal now. And I'm going to tap this River of Tears for black while I can. Oh, they're on one of these. They got the Ulamogs, they got the Fables, they got the Yggdrasils. I can counter that Yggdrasil, actually. So I think I am going to... Dude, what is this deck, man? What nonsense is my opponent playing? I'm going to take the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I'm going to cast this Mishra's Bauble. I'm going to wait until their upkeep, and I'm going to mill that Kozilek's command. And I think I just... Oh, really? Fable? Alright. Alright, let me take a look at the text for this. They played it off of an Eldrazi Temple, and that Yggdrasil is out of their hand now. When it enters, exile all creature cards from your graveyard. You can exile the top 3 cards of your deck using it, and then you can tap it for 4. Yeah, I think I'm just going to counter this. Alright, whatever, man. Do I try to kill them? They have a Through the Breach in hand. They have a Fable of the Mirror Breaker in hand, but they don't actually have a way to cast either. I think I'm going to try and kill them. Try to keep them off of red. Okay, yeah, I'm fine with this. Swamp. Played that as their land for turn. And let's just go ahead and kill them. Oop, I should have milled that Talisman of Indulgence. That wasn't good. Go ahead and do that now. Okay. And I think I'm just going to get as much draw control as I can here. All right, I win the match. Well, if we got curb stomped by Blink, then I guess we can curb stomp some decks as well. We'll take those. All right, that's wild. Give me just a minute. I'll go ahead and get round 3 set up. Well, it's been an interesting league so far. Now we are on the draw in round 3 versus Morrison 90. This hand has 3 blue mana and the Whir of Invention. It's got a Mishra's Bauble, which should help me out a little bit. Pithing Needle is okay-ish, but the Fatal Push is really nice. I think I'm going to keep this. Undercity Sewers. So my opponent is likely on either Goryo's or on... Oh, what's that card? The Frog deck, the Oculus Frog deck. I think I will just play out my Polluted Delta and pass. Do I play out my Mishra's Bauble as well? I could do that. Yeah, I'll play out my Mishra's Bauble. Still holding up their mana here. Just doing absolutely nothing. I think I will draw this Urza Saga. Playing a Pyxis of Pandemonium off this Urza Saga seems like a decent thing to do. Let's go ahead and do that. Are they going to counter this? Nope, they don't counter it. I wonder what they're doing. Second Undercity Sewers. The first time they surveilled to top. This time they're not. Just going to go ahead and let them do this consider. Wow, they've been to stink into super. That's... We take those. And I think here I will just go ahead and fetch my Watery Grave. I am going to play out my island, and I'm going to cast my Mox Opal just to make my construct a little bit bigger. Still holding open Fatal Push. They have officially run out of surveillance. They haven't done anything. Basic Island. Well, let's go ahead and test their interaction here. Let's see if they can beat constructs. I think I do actually make another construct here. I think I'm going to make that. I'm going to use this Urza Saga and grab a Lantern of Insight. That is a Fatal Push. I think I'm fine with them drawing that. Let's go ahead and test their interaction here. Yeah, they're not just going to let me do that. Now, I'm not going to exile this Fatal Push. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to exile the Fatal Push now. So they can answer my constructs, which is fine. But I'm not going to try and push my advantage with just one construct. I will draw this Pyxis of Pandemonium, though. I pretty desperately want a discard spell to resolve. I don't know what my opponent's doing here. I think I might take this Preordain if they don't fetch with Flooded Strand. Yeah, I'm going to take the Preordain. Psychic Frog is fine. I have an answer to that already. Let's see if they actually play it. They do. And I think I will just push the Psychic Frog. Just not going to think about it too hard. They going to counterspell this? They do. Okay. I think I'm fine with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. I am going to do nothing. I'm just going to draw this Whir of Invention. But the Ensnaring Bridge is on top of my deck, huh? I could put Pithing Needle on Psychic Frog, but I think that might be a trap. I actually don't think I need to do anything right now. Yeah, I'm just not going to do anything right now. Let's go ahead and cast this now. 1, 2, 3. They do have a counterspell in hand. All right, that's fine. In that case, I'm not going to let you have that Force of Negation. Swamp is fine. And they played it as a land for turn. Last card in hand is a 3-drop of some kind. It might be a Abhorrent Oculus in hand. I'm just going to take this hit from this Psychic Frog. Harbinger of the Seas is in hand now. I don't care. Look at my mana base. Just look at it. I don't care about that. I do not want them having that Sauron's Ransom, though, so I'm going to take that. Alrighty. Now let's go ahead and try this again. Very good. Whir of Invention for 3. It resolves this time. Let's just go ahead and grab that Ensnaring Bridge and play out this Pyxis of Pandemonium. They are going to get another draw off of this Psychic Frog here. So Psychic Frog is in hand. Orcish Bowmasters is in hand. They have one unknown, which I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's not relevant because they give me the game. All right, that's fine. Let's go ahead and start sideboarding. I feel quite good against blue-black Oculus because just look at this deck. It's amazing. I wish I had a little bit more discard, but I think that that's okay. Do I even want to sideboard versus them? I'm not convinced that I do. The Pithing Needles are not fantastic. I could do Consign to Memories, but what would I actually be stopping with those? Draw triggers off Psychic Frog? That's not very good. And I actually think that those could legitimately rot in my hand. I could bring in Extirpates. I don't know. In Maple, I'm not even sure that I bring in the second Grafdigger's Cage. I guess I could bring in the second Grafdigger's Cage over the third Pithing Needle. I don't think Pithing Needle is going to be that good. And I guess one of the Pithing Needles could also become a Nihil Spellbomb. But what if they bring in Tamiyo, though? I don't think I'm gonna mess with it too much. I think I'm just gonna run it back. And Grafdigger's Cage is like extremely mid versus them. Although having 2 of them is better than having 1, because if it shows up in my opener, then I can stuff their Surveil something into the graveyard, then unearth it. Oh, but I don't know about with this hand, though. This is a 1-land hand. It doesn't have a lock in it. I'm just a dog to the top of my deck. I would have a 23 out of 53 chance every turn to draw into a Mox Opal. I don't think I can keep this. I think I need to mulligan. This is much better. I'm going to bottom a land with this hand. The Underworld Cookbook is not particularly good in this matchup either. I just feel like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I would have sided out a lot of these artifacts and brought in more discard, but that would have also weakened my Whir of Inventions. So I'm not sure. I'm going to bottom the Watery Grave. Let's go ahead and test their interaction. Grafdigger's Cage. Do you have a Spell Pierce? Nope. Didn't have a Consign to Memory either. Or at least not one that they wanted to burn on a Grafdigger's Cage. And of course now they're just going to go turn 2 Frog, and I'm going to be very sad. Oh yes, Soporific Springs as a land. We love to see that. That is an Inquisition of Kozilek. I think I actually will Inquisition them. I'm not exactly insulated against a Harbinger of the Seas. So they've just got Psychic Frog backed by a wall of interaction. Well, I'm going to take the Force of Negation, and then I just have to work through a counterspell. I think that's fine. Okay, and this will allow me to play a Codex Shredder. I'm going to hold the Mox Opal. One of the cards they drew was a land. That's fantastic. I'm not going to mill them here. Okay, Dark Slick Shores is going to hit. I will just go ahead and cast out all of my artifacts now. And now I'm just going to make some big beefy boys, and I'm going to see if my opponent can handle all of the, I don't know, the big heckin' chonkanage. Chonkanage. They're going to swing in here. I'm going to create my construct. Orcish Bowmasters is out of hand, so they have 2 unknown cards in hand here. They're going to kick their frog into the air. They're going to put a counter on it. And that's it, actually. They discarded the Spell Snare, and now they have 3 unknowns in hand. I think they were really trying to dig to a Harbinger of the Seas there. I just don't think it worked. That is an Otawara. I think I just need to make another big beefy boy, though. I'm going to grab a Lantern of Insight off of this. It's a Thoughtseize. I'm actually surprisingly resilient to Thoughtseize. I will play out my Polluted Delta, and I'm going to swing in with a 7/7. They're going to chump block. That's fine. I'm just going to let them have the Thoughtseize. And I think at some point I am going to just Otawara the Psychic Frog and attempt to just kill them. Wow, they're going all in. Okay. They're going all in. That's wild. All right, so I'm going to take a decent hit here. Discarding Counterspell, they have one unknown in hand right now. What do I even want to do here? I don't think I'm going to stop them from drawing this Consigned to Memory. I think I'm just going to let it happen. Yeah, this is super punishable. They're going to have one unknown in hand. Oh my god, they dumped their whole hand. Yeah, you got a Consigned to Memory. That's fine. Let's go ahead and fetch up a basic island here. Basic swamp. Oh, I'm going to punish this so hard. I think I am actually going to mill that Consider. Basic swamp. That's fantastic. All right, I'm just going to make sure that I have enough mana to play this Otawara. I do. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And I think this is game. Yeah, this is game. All I need to do is bounce this Psychic Frog at some point. I don't even think I need to wait to bounce it. I think I just bounce it. Yeah, I'm going to do this now so that I don't screw this up. Okay, and I won the match off of that. Wow, that was wild. Whir of Invention actually looked really good in the first game. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It played around opposing counter spells and allowed me to have insane consistency. So, yeah, Whir of Invention looked good in this particular game. This particular match, I mean. And the Otawara, just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, they would have been able to hit me for Exacxies, I think. I don't know, man. That was wild. All right, on to round 4. This league is going so fast, and I'm absolutely here for it. Okay, we have started round 4 versus the Great Dragon. I will be on the draw this time. Honestly, I am kind of liking the consistency of Whir. Like, this feels really good. If Ursa Saga tapped for blue, then I probably would be playing Whir instead of traditional. Ooh, this is a hand. I could choose to keep this. I could choose to keep this hand. Has my opponent kept 7? They have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could play Grafdigger's Cage, and I could possibly Whir of Invention for X equals 3 on turn 3. I would need to draw a 1 mana artifact sometime in the next 2 turns to be able to pull that off, or a 0 mana artifact at any other point. I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna keep this. I don't know if I should actually keep this. It doesn't have any discard in it. Oh, it's energy. Maybe I shouldn't have kept this. It's energy with Bloodstained Mire, huh? Oh, that is another land. I don't know how much I like that. Let's go ahead and just do Darkslick Shores, Grafdigger's Cage. Yeah, I have entirely too many lands in hand right now. My opponent is electing to draw their card for turn and then just kind of sit for a minute. They might have been stumped by this Grafdigger's Cage off of a Darkslick Shores. That's not a line that you see very often as a turn 1, game 1 sort of thing. Oh, we're playing Storm. I see. So they're going to try and win now off of this Ral. We are at 2 spells for Ral, and we need to hit 6. If they have decent hits off of a Glimpse here, then that might be possible. They're at 3 spells now. Those were not fantastic hits. Yeah, those were not fantastic hits. They just decided to flip now. If I hit a Mishra's Bauble off of the top of my deck, then I can Pithing Needle this Ral. Honestly, I feel so much better about playing against Storm than I do against Energy. Okay, so they still have 2 unknowns in hand. Lantern of Insight. So what can I do with this? Well, first off, I can cast it. There's another Glimpse the Impossible on top of their deck. I don't think I want this Otawara. Do I let them have this Glimpse? I'm not sure. What would I do here if I Lantern Shuffled? I would next turn be able to Whir for 1 or 2. That would be enough to Pithing Needle Leyline Prodigy. I could just Pithing Needle Leyline Prodigy and keep the Lantern. And I have a Grafdigger's Cage, so I don't know if I really need to be all that worried about that Glimpse. If I'm worried about anything, it's probably this Wish here. That Wish could grab a Meltdown for 0 or 1. Yeah, because they could plus Ral. They could cast Wish off of this. And then they have a Spawn and an Elegant Parlor that could... Really, they could just play Meltdown for X equals 1 off of just the Elegant Parlor and keep the other Spawn. I think I'm going to let them have the Glimpse. I don't believe that I want this Otawara. So I think I'm going to shuffle that away with this Polluted Delta here, and the next turn I will Whir for a Pithing Needle on Ral. My opponent is tanking pretty hard here too. I think it might be correct for them to just play the Ruby Medallion, and that's exactly what they're doing. Don't know why they didn't use their other Spawn to do that though. Alright, so they're going to Glimpse for 3 here. They're going to hit a second Wish, a Reckless Impulse, and a Mountain. But now, unless they have a Ritual in hand, they kind of can't do much. And now they've exiled 2 Wishes. If they had tapped their Eldrazi Spawn for the Ruby Medallion for mana, instead of this Glimpse here, instead of the Sacred Foundry, then they would have been able to do something more powerful, I think. But now they're going to lose the Mountain and 2 Wishes. They're going to hit a Wooded Foothills and a Reckless Impulse. They're running out of steam here. They're pretty majorly running out of steam. Gonna go ahead and just grab that Watery Grave. I do not want to pay 2 life. Okay. And I think I might actually do this on my upkeep because I want to be able to... Oop, gonna tap this instead. I want to be able to draw something that's not a Fatal Push here. That was weird. Tap the Lantern anyway, huh? Let's grab a Pithing Needle. Let's name Ral Leyline Prodigy. And that Whir of Invention is going to be a very good draw. I like to see that. Okay. And we are holding on versus Storm. They have a Past in Flames in hand. Wooded Foothills out of the Exile Zone. So Reckless Impulse is going to hit. They're going to hit a Reckless Impulse and a Pyretic Ritual. So they have the option to really make something happen this turn. Reckless Impulse is in exile, so they're going to get another 2 looks, and they have a Ren's Resolve on top of their deck, so that's another 2 looks. And since I did the weird thing where I tapped the Lantern on accident, I can't really interact with this at all. So I'm going to just let this happen. And that's a lot of looks at cards. That's 5 cards off the top of their deck now. Glimpse the Impossible is going to hit. And we have hit another Impulse effect. So they get to look at 4 more cards now. But they need to hit a Wish. They have 1 Wish in their graveyard. They have 1 Wish just straight up in exile. They're going to Past in Flames here. I don't know why. For Storm count, presumably. I think that was the Past in Flames out of their hand. Why did their life total change? Did they tap the Sunbaked Canyon for mana? That might be it. I'm not really sure what they're doing, honestly. They can look at... what? 2 more cards? I feel like I've said this a lot so far, but I'm just not sure what they're doing. Okay, so they've cast Ral Monsoon Mage on the front half here. And that's just not really relevant again. Like, what are they doing, man? I'm going to go ahead and fetch here. I really want a Millrock. Honestly, what I really want is a freaking Urza Saga. Inquisition of Kozilek is good as well. I suppose I'll take that. See what that last card in hand is. All right. It's a Stomping Ground. Okay. Yeah, my opponent's just spinning their wheels now. I will just Whir of Invention, main phase for X equals 1. Let's just go ahead and get this out of the way now. I think I'm going to grab a Codex Shredder because I have the Grafdigger's Cage in play. All right, and that's a Thoughtseize. That's fine. Bloodstained Mire is okay. And I think I will actually use the Codex Shredder to take their Valakut Awakening. This will force them to pop their Sunbaked Canyon. They didn't do it, though. And they're out of gas again. Drawing an Arid Mesa. Yeah, I don't need this Thoughtseize. I really want an Urza Saga. I just want to win the game now. They kept the Monomorphos, which is probably correct. I'm going to swing for 1. Yeah, you can swing for 1. That's fine. Okay, whatever. I'm going to try and find an Urza Saga now. That's not an Urza Saga, but I'll take it. Do I take the Monomorphos? I don't think I do. I think I'm just going to let them have it. Yeah. Interestingly, my opponent hasn't conceded yet. They're just super out of gas. And yeah, this Ral is more valuable as a creature right now. I am not even going to keep this Ensnaring Bridge. I want an Urza Saga, but I'm not going to dig super hard to find one. If they want to draw this Grape Shot, I'm going to let them do it. Wise decision, they chose not to. Okay, still in an Urza Saga waiting room. Again, not going to dig too hard for it. Let's go ahead and pop this Mishra's Bauble right away. Doesn't matter that much. Notably, my opponent has burned a ton of clock. They're under 15 minutes right now. It's Ensnaring Bridge. I don't want that. Oh, where has my saga gone? Oh, where can it be? With its border now glinty, and its constructs with big butts. Oh, where can it be? They gonna start chaining Monomorphoses? You got it. I'm gonna say no to Ren's Resolve if they try going for it here. And they do. No, thank you. I don't want you having a Ren's Resolve. Third Monomorphose is fine. Strike it Rich is fine. They're shuffling. Grape Shot is fine, actually. Gonna accelerate their clock by a little bit. I still will mill them out with what I have before I actually die. Gonna go ahead and just crack these baubles now. And F6. So I'm going to fall to 7 this turn. Oh, man. What an exciting game. I think all games that I win are exciting. All right. Goodbye, Ral. They drew a Past in Flames. Are they going to attack with the Eldrazi spawn? The only relevant choice that they have now. And I'm still actually going to do nothing here. Play out this Lantern, just in case I need to make them shuffle the last 12 cards in their deck. And again, I'm just going to play it safe. My opponent is super behind on clock. That's really the thing that would be relevant here. Oh, that's a Whir of Invention on top of my deck. That's fantastic. And I'm not even keeping track of my opponent's hand. It just doesn't matter anymore. I mean, it hasn't mattered for a long time, but still. Go ahead and cast this Whir. Codex Shredder, sure. Make my opponent think that Codex Shredder is the biggest deal when it's really Pyxis. You know, now that my opponent is playing quickly, I'm going to go ahead and start milling them. Artist's Talent, huh? I don't want them having that. I'm going to Thoughtseize them twice, just for the hell of it. Making sure that I don't fall to 0 life. Okay, and the game is won now. They have 5 cards in deck. I can mill out their entire library. Did they even have any additional outs in their deck? They've got what? 1... Where are the other wishes at? I think I might have hit a wish or 2 in here, maybe? 1, 2... I'm only seeing 2 wishes. I don't think I hit a wish with my Pyxis, though. Yeah, last wish, all the way on the bottom of their deck. Okay, so they have 3 wishes. They have a Grape Shot as their win conditions. No, they're running 3. They've got 1 wish in exile here. They've got 1 wish in the graveyard here, and they've got 1 wish in their library here. So I see 3 wishes. But they have the main board Grape Shot, which I think is a responsible choice. Go ahead and begin sideboarding. Things we don't love. We don't love Fatal Push. We don't love Pithing Needle. We don't love the Underworld Cookbook. Things we do love. Grafdigger's Cage and Extirpate. Things we don't love. We don't love Ensnaring Bridge. Things we do love. Damping Sphere, Nihil Spellbomb, and the Stone Brain. Do I want Consigns? Consigns would be able to target a Ruby Medallion. They'd be able to target a Storm Trigger. That might be useful. Okay, I'm on board to bring in Consigns. What would I take out? Probably the 4th Ensnaring Bridge. And honestly, a Pithing Needle. Okay, let's go ahead and try this. Overboarding versus Storm, which I don't even think we needed to have that much boarding against anyway. Ugh, look at this hand. This hand does turn 1 Inquisition, and then turn 2 Urza's Saga for something. I'm gonna keep it. It's got the Consign to Memory. Lantern of Insight was a good draw. Let's go ahead and Inquisition our opponent here. So, yep, there's the 2 Wear Tears. Do I even care about Wear Tear? I might not even care about Wear Tear. I could take the 2 Impulse effects. Yeah, I think I might just take an Impulse effect here. I think I'm just not going to care about Wear Tear. All right. So I took the Reckless Impulse out of their hand. They kept their card on top. They're playing Stomping Ground from hand. They're just going to do a Ren's Resolve. Manamorphose and Prismatic Ending. Well, let's not give them a good target for that Prismatic Ending, huh? Which means I don't want to play out this Lantern of Insight. Do I even want to play out the Urza Saga? I think I'm just going to play a Polluted Delta, and I'm going to Thoughtseize them. Double Rare and still in hand. Yeah, let's just take their Reckless Impulse. Okay. This Prismatic Ending's going to disappear. They're just going to cast a Monomorphose from their exile zone, try to cycle into something good here. That's a Ruby Medallion. I'm going to counter that. Prismatic Ending has now disappeared. I think I'm going to play out my Urza Saga. And I think now I'm going to start chewing through those Wear Tears. Grape Shots. Yeah. Okay. This is fine. I think I will let them have the Reckless Impulse. They need to Wear Tear now, before my Urza Saga starts pooping out constructs. But they can only choose one. They can either choose to hit the Urza Saga, or they can choose to hit the Lantern. And I think they're choosing to hit the Saga. They are. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Whir of Invention on top of my deck is really, really good. I like to see that. Desperate Ritual is in hand now. Now they're going to Reckless Impulse. They're going to hit a Mountain and a Pyretic Ritual. I think I might Nihil Spellbomb them now. They could make an army of how many Gobos? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 Gobos. That's not nothing, actually. Yeah, I'll pay for this Spellbomb. Ooh, Extirpate, huh? Okay, Extirpate is a thing that I could have. I think I'm going to just play this Otawara as a land, and I'm going to tap, 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 tap like this. Why is X2? Oh, you know what I could do? You know what I could do? I could fetch a Damping Sphere. If I fetch a Damping Sphere, then how many Gobos could they make? They could make 0 Gobos, actually. They could make 0 Gobos. Yeah, I think they can make 0 Gobos here. Okay, so I am actually going to Whir of Invention for X equals 2, and I'm going to grab my Damping Sphere. And there's a Codex Shredder on top of my deck. Okay, we're in good shape now. You may have an Empty the Warrens. They cannot cast Empty the Warrens now. Oh, well, all right, well, that happens. It was Empty the Warrens, it was a Pyretic Ritual, a Manamorphose, and I think it might have been a Ren's Resolve, but I'm not 100% sure. Jeez, I should not have done that. Sorry, I just updated my match information and it cleared my hand. Oopsie. And yeah, now they're Manamorphosing. They're going to hit a Ren's Resolve here, and that's all they can do. Okay, got a Codex Shredder. I'm going to go ahead and play that. Ooh, Urza Saga is a nice pickup. I actually think I will let them just draw that Wooded Foothills. Last card in hand was Grape Shot? Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. I appreciate it. My opponent can Empty the Warrens for 2 Gobos right now. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and mill that Ral. I don't want them having that. You can have as many rituals as you want. And now I'm just going to kill them with Urza Saga. How lovely. I don't know if I want them having an Artist Talent. I don't think I do. I'm going to take the Artist Talent. Desperate Ritual is fine. They can Desperate Ritual into 4 Gobos right now. But with this Urza Saga that I've got, I'm going to be able to just block all of them for days. And I think I'll be able to attack and chew through them eventually. But they do need to get something off the ground now. I just don't think it's going to be good enough. Are they realizing this? Not sure. Honestly, I'm not going to Saga for a Grafdigger's Cage. I'm going to Saga for a Pyxis, if the game even goes that long. I have Extirpate to cover the graveyard. Oh, they spliced. Good call. They can make 6 gobos now. Desperate Ritual is down. Another Ritual is down. And that's the Empty the Warrens down. Okay. Maybe I could have interrupted that with this extirpate. Do they have a Wren's Resolve in their yard? No, actually they don't. Okay, I am under the gun. I don't know if this is going to be good enough. It might be good enough with the Rape Shot that they have in hand. Do I take the Pyretic Ritual then? I think I'm going to mill them. I don't think I'm going to give them another Ritual. That would let them Medallion and then Resolve and then... Oh, yep, here we go. Here we go. That's a big deal. That's a pretty big deal, actually. Red spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. I think I'm going to let that happen. They can now Wren's Resolve. They can hit Aston Flames and Sunbaked Canyon. Playing the Sunbaked Canyon as a land for turn. I'm going to go ahead and create my dudes now. I'm going to fall to 12. And I think now I will actually grab a Grafdigger's Cage. Oh, did I just click through blocks? Oh, I just clicked through blocks. Oh, that's annoying. Well, that was a mistake. I'm going to create another construct here. And I think I will actually grab the Grafdigger's Cage. They have a Grape Shot in hand. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave my constructs back. There's a mountain. They played it as a land for turn. They do have a Ral in their graveyard for what it's worth. So I might be able to extirpate that if I get the timing correct. They're not swinging in. That's good news for me. I think I'm just going to mill it, though. It's a Pyretic Ritual. I could extirpate that if I needed to. I'm not sure that I do. Thoughtseize is a good pickup. That can get rid of the Grape Shot in their hand. Actually, it doesn't matter if I do it like that because they're going to be able to cast that anyway. And yeah, they're doing it now. Drawing a card with Sunbaked Canyon to get additional Storm. I think that's fine, actually. Yeah, that's fine. Or they just concede. All right, whatever. We take those. Running low on clock, running low on resources. I did bungle one of the blocks here, I think. But I think it worked just fine. The Consign to Memory at the beginning of the game, countering a Ruby Medallion, helped quite a bit. I don't know. Maybe I could have played this match a little tighter, but I didn't actually need to because I won the match, I guess. So yeah, let's go ahead and start up round 5. We've started round 5 versus Rare Hunter. I think I'm going to keep this hand. It's got a lock in it. It's got Urza Saga in it. It's not super duper fantastic, but I think it's good enough. Oh, Lord. Is this going to be... Oh, at least it's energy. All right. At least it's energy and not blink. Although drawing that River of Tears was not the best. Let's go ahead and play out this Lantern of Insight. At least I have Ensnaring Bridge on top of my deck. That'll be nice. Windswept Heath. No hand interaction versus energy is not going to be fun. Honestly, just this start alone is going to be hard enough to handle. This Urza Saga might actually have to grab a Underworld Cookbook. I think I'm going to play out my Shredders here and just do not much else. We all were kind of rooting for Zach Elsick when he won the Grand Prix. Honestly, we were rooting for him well before that, but that was definitely one of the highlights of the deck, I think. It is kind of nice that it was able to survive all of these shakeups and such and still take games. Playing that as their land for turn. Oh, Lord. Flage. Yeah, you got it. I'm going to take at least 3 here. Nope, taking 5. All right, that's fine. Now, I could let them draw this Goblin Bombardment and then Pithing Needle it, but I think it's probably more correct to simply mill it and then play my Ensnaring Bridge. I'd still have 3 cards in hand, though, so I'm still taking damage from this Ocelot Pride. Double Shredder here is not looking fantastic. I really wish I had a Pyxis. It's a Spyro. Yeah, I don't really want this Pithing Needle on top of my deck right now. I do not believe that I should be doing much else except casting this Ensnaring Bridge. Shouldn't be making constructs or anything like that. Do I take the Spyro? I think I take the Spyro. Although that'll allow them to escape their Flage, but they have a Windswept Heath in hand, so they could escape Flage anyway. I'm taking 3, 4, 6, 9. I'm falling to 2. All right. Spyro's got to go. That Ragavan is actually lethal. Oh, geez. All right, you know what? Second Spyro, you got it. All right, Windswept Heath is finally down, and I am falling to... Yeah, I think I'm falling to 2. If they have the ability to do something else here, like, I don't know, like a Ragavan Dash, then I might be in trouble. Although I guess if they're doing a Ragavan Dash, then they wouldn't be able to do that and cast Flage this turn, would they? Oh, Static Prison. All right, well, there wasn't anything I was doing about that anyway. So now I also need to hit an Ensnaring Bridge off the top of my deck. Spyro's going to hit. They're going to draw into Sacred Foundry and what else? Arena of Glory. All right. Okay, well, that was basically as good as that could get. They're now going to swing in for 3, 6, 8. I'm going to fall to 11. I'm going to fall a lot lower than that, actually. I'm going to fall to 3. Oh, and then Flage just kills me. Because now I can't also dig for Ensnaring Bridge, cast Ensnaring Bridge, and then also find a Underworld's Cookbook off of Saga and activate it and activate the food token. So I think here I'm just going to get more information from my opponent. Yeah, there's nothing that I can do here. Oh, just go ahead and do this. Go ahead and mill you. Go ahead and mill you again. And I'm going to grab another Codex Shredder. And I'm going to mill them again. Ranger Captain of EOS. I was rewarded for my diligence here with information. All right, let's go ahead and F6. Let's let our opponent kill us. They're correctly declining the triggers here, just trying to get through the time. And we lose the first game. I'm not feeling particularly good about the energy matchup here. I'm going to bring in my Toxic Deluges and my Grim Baubles. Am I bringing in anything else? I don't think so. I don't think I want Torpor Orb. I guess Torpor Orb does hit a lot of things like Guide of Souls, like Seasoned Pyromancer. It also hits Flage, although it lets Flage stick around instead of go to the graveyard. It does hit Ranger Captain of EOS's ETB to find a 1-drop, but I don't know if that's particularly relevant. Things that I don't want. I'm not actually sure. Like, I kind of want everything in the deck. I might side out a single Pithing Needle, a Grafdigger's Cage, and a Thoughtseize, and just kind of work with that. I don't know. I'm not feeling particularly good about it. I will be on the play here. I'm going to keep this. It's got a quick lock, and I like a quick lock. It can also make constructs fairly quickly. Making constructs quickly is going to be very good against an Ocelot Pride. That's a Guide of Souls. Okay. At least I don't have to worry about that Ajani anymore. There's a Ragavan. So I actually cannot create a construct this turn. That's a shame. I would love to create a construct this turn. I think I will play out the Polluted Delta and cast my Codex Shredders. Windswept Heath is okay. Gonna take a hit off this Ragavan. It's gonna hit my basic swamp. I don't want that basic swamp anyway. Third Mox Opal, I don't think I want that. I think I will fetch with this Polluted Delta. Oh, definitely don't want that. Ooh, definitely don't want that to hit play. Since this is blue-black, I just don't have any outs to this. Thoughtseize would have been nice to have. Not going to pay the life. I am going to mill my opponent because I can't handle that Wrath of the Skies. Another Stony Silence. All right. Jeez, man. I guess I have an Otawara in my deck that I can use as an out, I guess. Yeah, I'll take the Stony Silence. Just, wow, just absolutely destroyed. I had this whole carefully crafted plan where I'd use my Urza Saga, and then Stony Silence comes along and just absolutely ruins it. And yeah, I just don't have any outs for this. I have to, what? Grab a Pithing Needle here? blind name something off of it because I can't Thoughtseize first. I'll Needle Goblin Bombardment. There's the Otawara that I can't do anything with. And there's the Goblin Bombardment that I blind needled. I guess I take the Ranger Captain. I guess I just take the Ranger Captain. Yeah, we're screwed. We're not winning this game. We're definitely not winning this game, if anyone was questioning. Oh, right. I can't even take the Otawara because the Ragavant's going to take it off the top of my deck. You know what? Am I comfortable conceding here? Not necessarily. I might be able to do something. I just might be able to do something. Nope, not that one, not that one. So they're gonna draw a Spyro and a Wrath of the Skies. Okay, I'll wrap it up. I'll wrap it up. That's fine. You got me. You got me. Oh my goodness. Okay, so, wow, that was wild. I will go ahead and talk about the deck. Give me just a second. Okay, so what did I think of the deck? Whir of Invention is a tricky beast. That's what I thought. It was difficult to get off the ground, but when it did get off the ground, it really got off the ground. I just... the triple blue requirement forcing you to abandon everything that I like about the traditional build of this is just, it's a lot. For example, against Energy in that last round, where they just had turn 2 Stony Silence just out of the hand. How does this deck handle a turn 2 Stony Silence? At least a traditional build has the option of using Fomori Vault to dig for a Nature's Claim, which I have actually done in a previous league. Blue-black just kind of rolls over and dies. It just doesn't really have an out to something like that. Now, granted, Energy probably would have run over a traditional build in that particular scenario as well. They just had too much stuff in hand. They had double Spyro, and they were able to hit a Wrath of the Skies off of the second draw of it. And I don't know if a traditional build would have been able to handle that. But still, like, that was a pretty obvious glaring weakness of this deck. Where this deck is really good is against a lot of other stuff, actually. It felt really good against that blue-black Froculus deck that we played against, where we didn't actually see Oculus, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere. I don't even know what the heck happened against our round 2 opponent. Was it round 2? Where they just had the black-red Eldrazi something, and we didn't see anything out of their deck except for like an Yggdrasil and stuff like that? I don't know. It felt pretty good against that, though. And against Storm, I don't really have a hard time with Storm as Lantern. We just have way too much interaction. And some of that really was due to Whir of Invention being able to go grab Damping Sphere. That helped out quite a bit. I don't know. I would be willing to give this deck another shot. I would really want more discard, I think. Maybe at the expense of the fatal pushes in the main board, and possibly some more discard in the sideboard. Like, I really just want that discard. But the problem is that Whir doesn't really have a consistent way of going and firing off a turn 1 discard spell. It's got, what, 4, 8, 12, 13 black mana sources that are active on turn 1. That's not particularly high. I guess it's fine, though. I could have possibly kept something different in the round 5 game 2, where I just kind of went all in on my artifacts and then just got majorly punished for that. I did like how the deck played. I liked the play patterns of it. I liked being able to juke people out with Whir of Invention, with my various, one-shot artifacts in the sideboard. That was a really nice play pattern to have, and I think I enjoyed that quite a bit. I would be willing to give this another shot. I don't know if I'm going to do it immediately, but perhaps I will speak with ENTuO a little bit, and we can make a couple of adjustments to this list and maybe give this a shot in another league. I would actually recommend taking this for a spin, just as is. If you feel like you like the play patterns of the deck, if you feel like you want something a little bit different than traditional Lantern, go ahead and try this out for yourself. See how it feels.